How's it going, my peeps? I am bringing you the TNA Slammiversary 2012 results/review, and this is probably the most excited I've been for a results/review video, just because this show was so good. So let's start this thing. I'm gonna go over the results and give you guys my thoughts. If you guys enjoy my videos, make sure to click the like button. Anyways, let's get this on. So the show starts off. First of all, it is TNA's 10th anniversary, so they show a promo that advertises that it's their 10th anniversary. Anyways, to kick off the show, Hulk Hogan comes out to a big pop, and he basically says on the microphone that they're gonna start the show off old school, and he's gonna make, the first match is going to be Samoa Joe versus Austin Aries. He's going to make that a title match, so it's now for the X Division Championship. And then Samoa Joe comes out first, followed by Austin Aries, and they put on one hell of a matchup. This was a freaking great match to kick off the show. It kicked off the show in a tremendous way, in a freaking great way. You had so many cool spots, cool moments in the match. I was expecting a good match between these two, and they definitely delivered. They even, surpassed my expectations. At some point, Joe hit this powerbomb, and then he turned the powerbomb into a Boston Crab, turned that Boston Crab into an STF submission, and turned that into an abdominal stretch. Sorry, I'm so excited about this pay-per-view. And then he turned it into a roll-up, which Austin Aries kicks out from. And at some other point, you had Austin Aries hitting the 450 splash, and Joe kicked out of that. And then at some other point, you had Samoa Joe locking on the sleeper hold, but freaking Austin Aries counters that into a bridge pin, and Joe kicks out of that. You had just so many counters, so many cool spots. Like I said, at some point, Joe had Aries in the Muscle Buster. Aries countered that into a crucifix without the pin. And finally, Austin Aries hits the dropkick in the corner, followed by his brainbuster on Samoa Joe, which was pretty damn impressive for the victory. So Austin Aries is still the X Division champion. And right after a match, I would say, and I did say, it is probably the most random matchup ever on the pay-per-view. Kid Kash versus Hernandez. Kid Kash comes out. Hernandez comes out. It seems like Kid Kash is a heel, since Hernandez was, wrestling as a face in this match. Hernandez pulled off a bunch of cool moves in the match, as well as Kid Kash. Kid Kash pulled off a freaking awesome running tornado DDT. As far as Hernandez goes, he hit a top rope. Well, Kid Kash was outside the ring. Hernandez ran and hit a suicide dive above the top rope, not in between the top rope like most do. It was actually a good match. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting this match to maybe be boring, but hey, I was freaking completely wrong on this. Hernandez wins with a splash from the top turnbuckle. So Hernandez's return is successful. And when Hernandez came out, actually, they announced him as one half of Mexican America, but as far as I remember, Anarquia got released, so I don't know why they announced him as one half of Mexican America. Anyways, afterwards, you had Robbie and Rob Terry come out for their tag team match against Devon and Garett Bischoff. This was a match I wasn't really looking forward to. It ended up being an okay match, I guess, because it was, kind of short. And, Garett Bischoff kicked off the match with Robbie. They both kicked out the match. And while Garett was in the ring, the crowd was chanting, "You can't wrestle." I'm not sure if they were chanting that towards Garett or towards Robbie, and they were also chanting, "We want Devon." Devon eventually gets in, hits his, his moves, finally hits the freaking spinebuster on Robbie and gets the pinfall. And during the match, Madison Rayne came out and was looking on, at the ramp. And after that, I think you had a backstage segment with JB. He was with Daniels and Kazarian. Nothing really important happened. They were talking of, non-important stuff, I guess. And afterwards, you had a three-way number one contendership match between Rob Van Dam, Jeff Hardy, and Mr. Anderson. And this was another great match. You had so many, just like the freaking Samoa Joe versus Austin Aries match, you had so many cool moments. All three of the guys involved in the match, got their good share of offense in. You know, in the beginning of the matchup, Jeff Hardy had a coin. He flipped that coin. The coin fell in the middle of the ring. Then RVD got distracted, looked at the coin. So then Jeff Hardy starts attacking Rob Van Dam. And he was dominating for a short while there until Mr. Anderson hit him with a neck breaker. At some point, Anderson hits Hardy with a superplex. Then RVD right after goes for the 5-star on both guys, but they both roll out the way. And you also had Jeff Hardy down at some point. And RVD hit a monkey flip on Anderson, who was in the corner, and Anderson landed on Jeff Hardy in a senton type fashion. That was a pretty cool moment as well. You just had so many, great moments in this match. And comes where Jeff Hardy hits the Swanton Bomb on RVD, and he was about to get the win there, but Anderson, who was on the outside, pulled the ref out and stopped the counts. Then he throws Jeff Hardy out of the ring. I think RVD then kicks Anderson. He goes for the Rolling Thunder, but as he's about to finally hit it, Anderson quickly gets up and hits the mic check on RVD and gets the pinfall to win the match and become the new #1 contender for, the champion. You'll see who is the actual champion at the end of this review. So, Anderson is now going to challenge the champion at Impact. After this match, you had JB backstage with Crimson, who basically said nobody's going to ever beat him and that he's been undefeated for 470 days. He then comes out and says the same thing, and, he bashes the crowd and says he doesn't care who he's going to face, and that he could even face one of their Rangers or one of their own Cowboys, since they are in Texas. And right when he said Cowboys, I was like, okay, I have a feeling that James Storm's gonna be the guy to answer this, and I was right. James Storm comes out and he challenges Crimson for his open challenge. I was expecting the Pope. I was hoping it would be the Pope, but once he said Cowboy, I was like, okay, I'm thinking it's going to be James Storm. So I was kind of disappointed, but anyways, they go on with this match. It's a quick little match, and who gets the win? James Storm. James Storm hits a super kick and gets the pinfall victory, so Crimson is no longer undefeated. James Storm ends Crimson's streak. I think that's a great way for James Storm to come back, start gaining back some momentum to hopefully challenge for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship once again. And right after he wins, he celebrates, with a couple beers and stuff, and that's it for that segment. Right after, you had JB backstage again. See, with TNA, it's always one match. Well, most of the time when it comes to their pay-per-views, you have one match, then right after you have JB backstage with somebody else, with a wrestler. So JB was backstage actually with Austin Aries, and asked Austin Aries what is next for Austin Aries. Aries said that he's now like the best X-Division wrestler, the most dominant one, and that he now wants to be the man. He wants to be in the main event. That's basically what he said. And then Dixie comes out, which I assume is for the Hall of Fame, announcement, and it is. She comes out, she thanks the fans, says that it's actually the largest TNA live audience in the United States ever. And you know what? The crowd looked freaking great. They got so many people in the crowd, so it looked, like a major show. And the arena was great too. It looked great, a lot better. The environment was a lot better than the Impact Zone by far, like 100 times better, or even more. Anyways, she calls out the roster. They all come out to the stage, and then she makes the announcement of TNA's first ever inductee into the TNA Hall of Fame. Can you guess who it is? You can post it up in the comments right now. I'm going to give you a few moments. It wasn't AJ, and it wasn't Jeff Jarrett. Instead, it was Sting. I was expecting AJ or Jeff Jarrett, but this makes sense too. So, Sting gets inducted, and they show this promo video, this video package of Sting and wrestlers praising Sting. You even had Hogan in there saying that he thinks Sting is the biggest star in wrestling today, which I thought, I don't know if I would agree with that, but I'm a fan of Sting, but do not know if I would agree with that. But anyways, you had a bunch of wrestlers praising Sting in the video package, and then Sting looked like he wasn't expecting that. Then Sting's music hits and he walks down the ramp, gets in the ring. Dixie thanks him. He thanks the fans, he thanks Dixie and the roster, and Dixie says the official Hall of Fame is going to happen at Bound for Glory. The official, I guess, induction is going to happen at Bound for Glory. So, today was only the announcement to know who's going in. I don't know is it just going to be Sting at Bound for Glory, or are they going to announce like some more, Hall of Fame inductees in the next pay-per-views? I don't know. We'll see about that. And after that, I think you had the Knockouts Championship match. Yup, you had Tessmacher versus Gail Kim. And I wasn't a big fan of this match. It was okay. Maybe, I would have given this match a higher rating if I was, looking forward to it. But I just wasn't looking forward to it in the first place. So, okay match. And the end comes where Gail Kim is about to hit her finisher on Tessmacher. Gail Kim dominated most of the matchup. Then she goes for her finisher, but hesitates, and she decides not to go for her finisher. Instead, she goes for Tessmacher's finisher, payback, because Tessmacher, the last pay-per-view, went for Gail Kim's finisher so many times. So Gail goes for Tessmacher's finisher, but Tessmacher counters that into a roll-up and actually gets the victory. So Tessmacher is now the new TNA Knockouts champion. She won the title in her home state right after she wins. You have Christy Hemme interviewing her on the ramp. She asks her how, it feels to win the title. Tessmacher says it feels epic, and that's about it. So that was a shocker to me. I was expecting Gail Kim to hold on to the title until maybe Bound for Glory. Anyways, right after you had JB once again backstage. This time Bully Ray interrupted him and basically said he was gonna, assault Joseph Park, beat him up. And that if Abyss shows up, he's gonna finish the job or whatever. So then the match starts. Well, before the match starts, actually, Bully Ray comes out, obviously. And then Joseph Park comes out to no music. He's wearing like these, this sweatshirt or whatever. These sweats, these sweatpants and sweatshirts. Kind of like John Hernandez, kind of, but not really. But anyways, he comes out. Bully Ray in the beginning, plays with Joseph Park a bit, tells him to hit him. Joseph Park misses. Bully Ray slaps him, spits on him. But most of the matchup, Bully Ray was beating up Joseph Park. At some point, Joseph Park would get the advantage, where Bully Ray, missed a splash. Joseph Park rolled out the way, started punching Bully Ray a bunch of times. Bully Ray brings out the table, freaking cane. And Joseph Park, I think, punched him in the nuts or the gut. I'm not too sure where he punched him. And then he grabbed the cane and hit Bully Ray right in the heads. And afterwards, I think Joseph Park just left the ring. And then he got under the ring. He went under the ring. And then Abyss came out from under the ring. And the announcers, the commentators, weren't like, oh, Joseph Park, just, change it to Abyss. No, they were like, acting as if Abyss is a different guy, and they were like, "Oh my God, it's Abyss. He just got out of the ring, under the ring." And so yeah, Abyss gets out of under the ring. So yeah, he gets out of that, gets in the ring where Bully Ray is, and there's a table set up. But Bully Ray has his back turned to Abyss. And then he finally turns around, sees Abyss. Abyss chokeslams him through the table, then gets out of the ring, gets back under the ring, and then Joseph Park comes out from under the ring, gets back in, and pins Bully Ray for the victory. And that's it for the Bully Ray Joseph Park match. And after that, you had what did you have again? I'm trying to remember here. I think you had JB again. How could I forget? Match just ended, so you have to have JB. And you have JB backstage with Roode. And Roode basically says that he's going to end Sting's career tonight. And then Hogan comes out again. Hogan comes out a bunch of times, not just on pay-per-views, but on Impact Wrestling. I find him, he seems like he comes out a lot, So, yeah, Hogan comes out again to his music. Then he says, he's got a bunch of, he had a bunch of surprises for us, and he's got one more, and then he does that Christian Cage taunt that Christian used to do in TNA, where he'd look over at the crowd, and then he says, I introduced Christian Cage, and then freaking Christian Cage comes out to his old TNA theme song. It's a huge freaking pop. he comes out not with the IC belt though. He comes out, gets in the ring, praises TNA. Well, not really. Actually, he actually says he remembers. He remembered that there were more corners in the ring last time he was there, but he says the fans haven't changed, and he says he's there to announce TNA's #1 moment in their 10th anniversary. And he shows us the moment on the Titantron, and it's Sting making his in-ring debut in TNA, along with Christian Cage in a tag team match against Jeff Jarrett and Monty Brown. And then right after that, they cut to a promo, a video package showing AJ Styles and Kazarian and Daniels' whole, feud. They don't go back to Christian in the ring. So yeah, they show that video package, and then we have the match, and man, this match was awesome. This was one of the best tag team matches I've ever seen. It was seriously insane. It was a great match. Kurt Angle went crazy in the match. At some point, AJ freaking hit a springboard shooting star press on the outside onto Daniels. Kurt Angle hit a bunch of German suplexes. Daniels attempted the BME on AJ, but AJ rolls out the way. And right when Daniels landed, Angle hit the German suplex on Daniels. At some other point, Kurt Angle hit the German suplex on both Kazarian and Daniels at the same time. Angle was holding Kazarian, and Kazarian was holding Daniels, but Daniels was holding on to the ropes, so AJ, to fix that, just kicked him in the head. So Angle hit the German suplex on both guys. It was just a great match, and the end was great as well. It was just freaking awesome, man. The end of the match came where I think Kazarian was gonna go for his finisher. It was right after AJ hit the shooting star press on Daniels to the outside. Kazarian goes for his Fade to Black finisher on Angle. Angle counters that into what looks to be a roll up, but then counters that into an ankle lock and locks it on, and Kazarian taps out to the new TNA Tag Team Champions, Kurt Angle and AJ Styles. What a freaking team. I'm looking forward to that. I wonder what they're going to do with AJ and Kurt Angle as a team. Should make for some great tag team matches. This tag team match was great. It's going to be hard to top this tag team match. Definitely, one of the top matches on the show, if not the match of the night. Austin Aries and Samoa Joe was great too. And then you have finally the main event. They show this promo video package with music showing Sting putting on his makeup and Roode backstage, and then they show their feud over the past couple of weeks. And then Sting comes out first. Afterwards, Roode comes out, and he brought back his robe that he used to wear in the past when he was managed by Tracy Brooks. And the match starts. Roode ducks Sting for about 3 minutes or so. You had Roode running out of the ring and Sting running after him, and then, he did the old trick where he gets back in the ring, so Sting follows, and then he starts stomping on him. Then the match starts, and, it was a good match. It wasn't great, Sting versus Roode. The thing with Sting versus Roode, I don't think they're like the best match when it comes to matches. They're not the best guys to pair up for a great match, but it made for a good match. Anyways, at some point, you had Sting locking on the Scorpion Deathlock in the ring, and it looked like Roode was gonna tap out. He really made me, think that, hey man, this guy might tap out right now. He might freaking lose the title, but he doesn't tap out. He reaches the ropes, and then afterwards in the match, they're outside the ring, and this time at Slammiversary, the announcers table was at the same spot. WWE usually puts their announcers table, so you had Sting. He puts Roode on top of the announcers table and locked on the Deathlock once again. Roode taps out, but since they're outside the ring, it doesn't count. The referee tells him, it doesn't count. So Roode, he rolls off of the announcers table. He grabs this pack of beer bottles that James Storm brought, or were brought for James Storm. And he puts it back. He puts it in the ring, and then he gets in the ring. Sting follows, and Roode grabs one of the beer bottles, and he attempts to hit Sting with it. Still, Sting at this point is on the apron. Sting grabs the beer bottle, And then the referee sees that and grabs the beer bottle off Sting's hands and puts it away somewhere, so he's distracted. And then Roode takes another beer bottle, because don't forget that he brought the whole case. So he takes another beer bottle, smashes it on Sting's head when he gets in the ring, and then goes for the pinfall. The referee then gets in the ring and counts the 3 counts. So Roode wins the match and retains his championship. Thankfully, I'm happy about that. And then right after the match, Sting attacks Bobby Roode. He throws him out of the ring. He hits a suplex on the top of the stage, and then they go to the right side of the stage, where they climb up this spot. And then Sting gets him in the Scorpion Death Drop position, the reverse DDT position, and hits that from off the stage to a table that's under the stage. So yeah, he puts Roode through the table with the Scorpion Death Drop, I mean. So anyways, man, that ends the show. Sting's music hits, he goes back in the ring, and the medics check on Roode. So overall, this pay-per-view delivered in a major way. It was freaking great. You know, you had the return of Christian Cage, well, not, you know, permanently, but for the show, you had James Storm returning and ending Crimson Streak. You had a bunch of great matches on the card. It was, you know, an awesome show, an awesome pay-per-view. I definitely say that this was the best TNA pay-per-view I've seen in a long time. And even in terms of, you know, wrestling pay-per-views, WWE and TNA, I'd say this is probably the best pay-per-view of 2012 so far. It was that good. I would give this pay-per-view a 9 to a 9.5 out of 10. It was that good, in my opinion. So anyways, guys, that's it for this review / results. Leave your thoughts on the pay-per-view in the comment section below. Did you watch this pay-per-view? Did you enjoy this pay-per-view? What match did you enjoy the most? I really enjoyed Austin Aries vs Samoa Joe and the tag team match. Really liked the tag team match. Anyways, guys, as always, I thank you for your support. I thank you for watching, and I'm out, guys. See ya.